So this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. I recently got into purchasing photography books. I don't know when this happened, but it's become a really fun but yet expensive hobby. As you know, photography books are really big and they're printed well and they come with a price tag. And I've purchased a lot over the past probably, year and a half. One book that I recently purchased is called Capri Dolce Vita, which essentially translates to the sweet life in Italian. And you can look up the Dolce Vita and find just all sorts of gorgeous, romantic, timeless, sexy, near the water, boats, linen, all the things that come with what you imagine the sweet life to be. This book normally retails for $90, but luckily on the streets of New York you can buy anything. So I bought this book on the street for $15, and it was probably one of the best purchases I've ever made. And after I purchased this book, it made me think back to when I used to travel a lot. For a couple years, I worked on cruise ships, and I was able to travel the world and just see the most amazing places. While on board, I ran the TV department, and I had a lot of time to go out into the different ports, into all the different cities, and just really, take in the culture of, the traveling I was doing. And one of the places that I got to go was Capri. And this made me think back to some of the first pictures that I ever took on the first digital camera that I ever owned, which was the Canon XTI. I shot all those images on JPEGs because I really didn't understand what RAW was at the time. Kind of thankful because I was able to, fit more pictures onto a card. But it made me think back to how bad some of those pictures were, and sort of the similarity between my bad pictures and some of these great pictures in terms of what I thought I was trying to capture versus what, real photographers who had experience captured. Most of these pictures date back to, the 60s, maybe even earlier, and all up until today. And a lot of the images in this book really captures the essence of what it means to live in coastal Italy, in terms of the style of dress, the lifestyle, and just really the fabulousness of what it means to live in Capri. And Capri has always been known as a destination for the rich and the famous and the celebrity culture, and it's really fabulous. And for some reason, I have a whole, string of images of high-end retail storefronts in black and white. I don't know why I decided to take that many pictures of storefronts, but at the time, that's what caught my eye. But there are a lot of pictures that are similar to images in this book that I captured that clearly aren't as good, but still, sort of get at what some of these other photographers were trying to capture. So it's pretty fun to look and to sort of make that comparison. Some of the details that I captured in my images that I found in these images were pictures of the coastal lifestyle. So that's a lot of the wooden boats and sort of the coastal view with sort of the city that's built into the rocks, and just some of the bright colors that are present in Capri. And there's lots of details. When you think of Capri, you think of fruit, you think of lemon, you think of fabulous fruits and vegetables that grow there in Italy. And some of the other details that I captured was some of the architecture. I'm not sure how old Capri is. I'm sure it's hundreds of years old, but a lot of the architecture is, hundreds of years old. And I know that I captured, some facades, the top of buildings, and I see a lot of similar images here in this book. Clearly, these images were all shot on film, and mine was shot on digital, but I think, the intention of what I was trying to capture is pretty similar to what some of these other photographers also tried to capture. To shoot a place like Capri in black and white is pretty ridiculous because you just lose out on all the liveliness. Shooting black and white, it just does not do Capri justice, or any other part of Italy. And also, some of the images that I'm going to show here, they're not all from Capri. They're from Sorrento, they're from Pompeii, they're from just other, surrounding cities in Italy. But I did shoot some in black and white because I wasn't shooting in RAW, I was only shooting in JPEG, and sometimes I would shoot some of my images in monochrome, which is essentially black and white. So I lost out on the opportunity to flip back and forth between some of those images to make them color or black and white, but there are some black and white images in this book, and I thought it was pretty interesting sort of what those black and white images really entail and what they tried to capture. And I think similar to my images, it was really just trying to capture a sense of timelessness and just the romance of, you know, what coastal Italian living is like. Capri is really known for its rock formations because I think essentially Capri is built on a rock. It's pretty creative how some of these photographers captured some of their rock images. Clearly I didn't have as many vantage points as some of these photographers did, but I did a pretty good job of incorporating those coastal rocks into some of my images. Also, I didn't have the access to the people because I was mainly just out with my camera every day by myself. So there's lots of just glorious pictures of, you know, people walking down the street, hanging out on boats, hanging out on balconies that, you know, I didn't have an opportunity to capture, but some of these other photographers certainly did. And one other aspect of Capri is the tourist. In addition to the celebrity lifestyle and the fabulous lifestyle, it's a huge tourist attraction, and I'm sure millions of people go there every year, and you just can't, you know, get around seeing the tourists there because it's a pretty amazing destination to see. So seeing how tourists operate there is pretty fascinating. I love the fashion of, you know, Italians. It's very preppy, it's very timeless, it's very sophisticated. Men are always in button-up shirts and or stripes, loafers, white pants, linen pants, swimming trunks. I think the style of dress just says everything you need to know about its culture. But as of recently with some of my New York imagery, I've been capturing a lot of that similar style. And I definitely recognize it as very Italian, very European. One small note, the famous photographer Slim Aarons is featured in this book. I think some of his images are also in here, but there's a picture of him here. And if you know anything about Slim Aarons, he has sort of been the grandfather of photographing the rich and famous lifestyle, primarily in California, but he did travel a lot. And if you look at his Palm Springs work, you'll definitely understand the importance of Slim Aarons and some of the images that he captured. I think this image of this little wooden boat is like probably my favorite image. I just love this design of boat. I think it's like the sexiest thing ever. With the wood grain and the chrome molding and the chrome fixtures and just the detail. There's just something very, you know, luxurious about this little tiny boat, and the fact that it's like, you know, 10 people hanging out on it. I think that's pretty funny. But just the ease in which, you know, they sort of like demonstrate how they're living their life is pretty fantastic. Again, like I love the use of color, like these bright blue chairs. I think this is a fantastic shot that shows a lot about the design and sort of like how the colors reflect the water and reflects the immediate environment. And I just think that's a really keen detail that these photographers picked up on. So again, I just wanted to make this a short, fun video comparing and contrasting my early images of Capri to more experienced photographers. Maybe I'll do this again, I'm not sure. But until the next time, ciao.